Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for 6 things that we learn from Burnley 0, Chelsea 2. This is the second time I tried to record this video. Don't know what happened to the first one, but I'm absolutely delighted. International breaks are over. Chelsea in the Saturday early kickoff. We are back to winning ways. Once again, it's another clean sheet. Enzo has gone in. He's made some rotations. He's made some changes. And we've gone to Burnley, which could have easily been a little bit of a banana skin, and we have managed to get the 3 points. Today we've won 2-0, goals from Pedro Netto, Enzo, Fernandez. I just want to say, at the start of this video, we had a great international break on the channel, but next week is the biggest week of our season, and if you're not subscribed to GBFC, we're about to enter the busiest part of the season. We got Christmas jumpers on. I know it's literally still over a month until Christmas, but I thought, you know what? We got Jaffa cakes today on the stream. We had flipping jelly tots. We've had aero bubble chocolate butter. It's just been a great day so far, really, isn't it? Chelsea goes second in the Premier League table, 3 points behind Arsenal. And I'm going to say it now. I will never ever say this again, probably, unless there's any desperate need for this to happen. Tottenham Hotspur, I'm looking at you. I want you to win for me tomorrow. I want you to beat Arsenal. I'm going to say it again. Tottenham, I want you to win tomorrow. And then you can just go back to being Spurs forever, please. That'd be fantastic. Thank you very much. The Chelsea starting lineup today was a relatively interesting one. I looked at it and I had some questions. Again, I'm seeing Tosin start over Josh Achampong. Does Maresca actually rate Josh? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below. Sanchez in goal, Reece James, Chalobah, Tosin, Cucurella. We then move into the midfield pivot. Moises Caicedo rested. He's not injured. Don't worry about it. He just got back late from internationals. And it's Andre Santos and Enzo Fernandez. And then a front four that sees Jamie Gittins get a start, which, considering I thought it was going to be a bit more of a Burnley low block, I thought that was an interesting choice from Enzo Maresca. You then got João Pedro in the 10. You've got Pedro Netto on the right wing, and Liam Delap starting the game, leading the line for Chelsea. And I wanted to see that. I wanted to see Delap as the 9, with João Pedro playing off of him behind him. But I think isolating those two today, I think they were both poor. I think decisions were poor. I think the ball was kind of bouncing off of João Pedro, and it was similarly the same when it comes to Liam Delap as well. But goal scored from Pedro Netto. That's a massive one. Chelsea go 1-0 up inside the first half. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, Pedro Neto's under a lot of pressure right now because Esteval Willian, the name is just in that echo chamber of potential greatness. Everybody's talking about him. We all know how good he is, but Neto gets the start. And what have I been saying about Pedro Netto? Great player when it comes to the defensive work rate. That side of the game, he's absolutely got it nailed on. I need to see more output. I need to see goals. I need to see more assists. And he gets that today. He scores a brilliant diving header. Fantastic ball, by the way, from Jamie Gittins, who gets himself an assist. Enzo Fernandez is kind of in the box a little bit to give the defender something else to worry about and be another option to get on the end of it. Neto's ghosting in behind him. Diving header. Pass to Bravka. And it's 1-0 to Chelsea. Look, this isn't the most entertaining, enthralling, energetic game of football for a Saturday lunchtime in the cold, brisk Turf Moor. Burnley wins, all right? But Chelsea just got the job done. That is all we needed to do. I'm looking at the league table right now, and we are 3 points behind Arsenal with a 3-goal difference. So Spurs, I'm going to say it again, do it. Do me a bloody favour, will you? But today, Chelsea, we just executed everything. I think we looked solid. Defensively, there were some good blocks from both Tosin, Chalobah, Andre Santos doing excellent defensive recovery work in the first half. Burnley, though, if I was Scott Parker, I'd be a little bit concerned. I think they were ever so slightly toothless, to put it in as kind a way as possible. And if I was Burnley, I'd be wondering where the goals are going to come from this season. But before we go into the boxes here for your 6 things we learnt video. Of course, all of this on the channel. We've bought a load of new equipment recently, and that wouldn't be possible without the great help of our video sponsor. Do you know what I really hate? Taking notes. It takes too long, and by the time I actually remember to pick up the pen, the thought has gone, and I never actually write it down. And this is where Plord come in. This is the Plord Note, a sleek, pro-level AI note taker that literally records and creates notes for you. So if me and the big dog, Josh Aveste, are doing an episode of the 3 More Points podcast, I'm going to click this button here on the back of my phone case where the Plord sits in this lovely little leather case, I'm going to click the button, and then when I finish recording, I'll click the button again. And from there, I'll have all of the notes and all of the transcript from the video that I have just made. So when it comes to doing YouTube descriptions, this is helping me to make sure that we get all of the important information in there. Plord keeps your data safe with end-to-end encryption. With the Ask AI built into the Plord app and the website, you can ask questions like, when did I last mention Xavi Simons? Probably every video, but the Plord app will let me know exactly where it was because it keeps all of my transcripts whilst I'm recording. Don't worry about your data security, it keeps your data safe with end-to-end encryption and meets global privacy standards like SOC2 and GDPR. So if you do want to support the channel and you do want to make your life easier by getting your hands on one of these, then make sure you check the link in the description. GBFC10 gets you £10 off your Plord order. And we are back. Let's move into box number 1. My man of the match today is Andre Santos. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. When it came to tackles, recoveries, the positioning of him to protect that defense. When I think about Andre Santos, I always think, well, I think Asugo was brought in with, this is the mindset of what we were supposed to do, right? Asugo is going to be the Moises Caicedo backup, and then Santos would be the Enzo Fernandez backup. But what we saw today is as if Caicedo's been feeding his jelly tots, or, you know, giving Santos a little word, being like, right, you're going to do this, this, and this. It was Caicedo-esque out there today. And that's a great story for Chelsea, because next week, Barcelona and Arsenal, as much as Burnley is worth the same amount of points as if you beat Arsenal at Stamford Bridge next weekend too. But like, the fact of the matter is, we've been able to rest players today. We've obviously had Cole Palmer, who I didn't know this at the time of recording yesterday, but obviously Cole Palmer's stubbed his toe. I don't know what he's been doing in the middle of the night, going to the toilet or something, and he's kicked. I don't know what he's done, all right? But we've been able to rest players today. Esteval not starting as well. Maybe that means he's going to be in line for Barcelona. But Santos deserves a hell of a lot of credit. I thought he was brilliant. Box number 2, Pedro Netto. Again, this is great competition right now for Chelsea, because with Esteval Willian not being in the starting 11, everyone's calling for it. Everyone wants to see him. He nearly comes off the bench at the end as well. And then Chelsea scoring that second goal changes the mind of Enzo Maresca, which even in itself, right, I think that's an interesting substitution. You're 1-0 up away at Burnley. You bring on Esteval in injury time. Interesting. That's all I'm going to say there. Neto probably would have been better defensively, but I'll back him. Neto, it's a great goal. It's a great finish. And I think today he looked a lot more sharp. He was trying to beat a man, take players on. That's what I want to see from him. And he's under pressure. He knows that. He knows that Garnacho on the left wing's doing well. Gittins obviously out there as well. He did okay today, I'd say, Gittins. But Esteval is more than breathing down Pedro Neto's neck. And I think he knows it, but he did very well. Scored a goal. Moving into Tosin, a bloke who I looked at him in the starting 11. I'm like, how on earth have you managed this then, geezer? Because you got Josh Atchampong, who, to be fair, has done absolutely nothing wrong. He was brilliant last time we saw him play against Liverpool. I don't understand it. I think it's got to be a video topic. I think we've got to discuss it at some point, because Tosin today, though, did well. And as much as I might love Josh, and yeah, maybe there's a bit of bias in there, Tosin's passing today was fantastic. What I liked about both Tosin and Trev in this game is they were putting in some good defensive blocks in the first half, but it's the passing. It's the fact they were able to bypass that Burnley midfield, get the ball up towards Liam Delap. That's what we need to do more of. And there was a couple of good hold-ups from Liam Delap today, but Tosin was always looking for that pass. But Delap, I've given a yellow box here in the 6 things we learned, because I want more from him. And I feel as though Maresca said it when he got the red card against Wolves, that maybe he thought he was being a little bit selfish. And I think today, I could argue that I think Delap was being a bit selfish again. I think there were times where there were better passes that were on. I think some of the finishing was really poor, and balance, right? When you look at Delap's size, there's people that have said, like, oh, it could be like Harry Kane. Let's just park that thought for a little bit. We'll revisit that in a couple of years, shall we? But balance-wise, I feel like the ball was just bouncing off of him a little bit. The same for Joao Pedro today. And listen, it's still early days, right? When it comes to the combination, Delap's been out injured for the first, 2 months or so of the season. So that is going to take some time. But I don't think Liam Delap is doing enough right now to warrant me thinking, yeah, he's going to start every single game. He's just not been at the standard. Enzo Fernandez. Now, for me at the start of this game, he was a little bit slow. And we've kind of come to expect that from Enzo Fernandez after an international break. Look, we've all taken flights before. Jet lag, it is a real thing, right? But Enzo wasn't playing during the internationals. He did get a rest, which is good stuff. But again, still, even if he's been on holiday, he looked a little bit off the pace and he was being carried by Santos. But I will say this, right, about Enzo Fernandez. Good finish, arriving in the box, but also for Pedro Neto's goal, Enzo Fernandez's movement and positioning in the area is just as important as Neto putting it in the back of the net. And I also want to say credit and a green box here to Mark Guiu, who absolutely deserves praise for a fantastic assist. Chelsea needed a second. Mark Guiu, he's bullied his way around the Burnley defender, and he cuts it back for Enzo Fernandez. Game over, job done, 2-0 Chelsea. And huge credit here to Mark Guiu because we've got Emmanuel Amiga joining in the summer. Obviously, Panicelli at Strasbourg. I can see that happening in the future, and I could potentially see, this is a little early prediction for you here, I could see Mark Guiu going the other way to Strasbourg, and maybe Dastan Satpayev too. But look, there's been stories this week. We've spoken about it here on GBFC about how maybe the Chelsea hierarchy look at Satpayev potentially as a higher ceiling striker than Mark Guiu. But that goal, he deserves so much credit. And again, different to that of Delap, who I can say selfish elements of his game today. Lovely cutback. He could have shot. The angle was against him. And Enzo Fernandez finished it. Listen, this is a big win for Chelsea, right? Burnley away. We expect the win. A draw or defeat, we would have been distraught if we wouldn't have won this game today. Momentum. 2 clean sheets in a row. And we've beaten 2 teams that, look, there's been countless times in recent years where we've crumbled against these so-called smaller oppositions. But today we didn't do it. We've got the win. I want to say a big thank you to Plaud for sponsoring this video. And a big thank you to you lot for always sticking by us here on GBFC. Make sure you subscribe because next week, it's the biggest week of our season. I absolutely cannot wait. Barcelona, Arsenal at the bridge. And I'm just going to hint to this now. That there might actually be a madness happening on the channel next weekend. And I mean like a genuine mazza. All right. So if you're not subscribed, you won't know. Thank you guys for watching. Come on, you Blues.